Morning, my dear students. Welcome back to our science class. Okay, hope you all are happy. In our last class we discussed about soil, right? And soil, we studied what is soil. Then we studied what is weathering and two types of weathering also, right? That is physical weathering and chemical weathering. Then we studied about the three stages of weathering, and we studied about factors affecting soil formation, right? So what are the factors we studied? Do you remember? Climate, characteristics of the parent rock, and slope of land. Okay, and we studied about soil profile, right? So soil profile, we studied what is soil profile. Do you remember what is soil profile? A vertical section of soil from the ground surface to the parent rock that shows the different layers of soil, or the horizon is called soil profile. Now you are looking, the picture is soil profile, right? So here you know that four layers are there. First layer is called topsoil, A horizon or topsoil. Okay, here mineral particles mixed with the organic material, and also you know that in this layer it consists of fine particles, and also it is rich in humus, and it will be dark in color. Okay, it has soft porous for what? To hold the, it can hold the water. Okay, and also you know that the whole horizon just lies just above the topsoil. Okay, it is rich in organic matter. Already I explained, that is why I am showing as a picture. Now you can look that it will be very dark in color. Here it is plants, for the plant growth it will be suitable for that. Okay, that is O horizon. Now you are looking clearly topsoil, which one is topsoil or A horizon, and which one is O horizon. Okay, and the second one is, you know that that is subsoil or the B horizon. Okay, here you know that compounds draining from above accumulate. That means, see, you know that here some rich minerals seep down in the along with water. Okay, it contains compactly packed fine particles of the soil. Okay, that is B horizon or subsoil. And the third one we studied, C horizon. Okay, here it is mixed with the parent rock. Okay, because it has weathered pieces of rock also, and it is usually characterized by the cracks and crevices. Okay, it is very difficult to dig the soil. Okay, and the least layer is called, or the last layer is called R horizon or bedrock. Okay, that is the lowermost layer, and it, you know that it will be full of parent rock. Okay, say the definition of soil profile. A vertical section of soil from the ground surface to the parent rock that shows the different layers of soil, or the horizon is called soil profile. Okay, repeat it everyone. A vertical section of soil from the ground surface to the parent rock that shows the different layers of soil, or the horizon is called soil profile. Okay, mark it this question. Define soil profile. Okay, next we are going to study about composition of soil. Okay, what is that? Composition of soil. Here this is describe about the composition of soil, this picture. Okay, so here the main constituents of soil are water, sand, clay, silt, pebbles, and humus. Okay, it contains many components. They are water, sand, clay, silt, pebbles, and humus. Okay, here but it will be mixed in different proportions. Okay, the clay will be less than 0.002 in millimeter. Okay, the clay particle, then silt particle will be 0.0022 to 0.05, okay, percentage, and sand will be 0.05 to 2 percentage. Okay, and the fine pebbles will be 2 percentage to 5 percentage, and the medium sized pebbles will be 5 percentage to 20 percentage, and the coarse pebbles will be 20 percentage to 75 percentage. Like that, the composition of soils will be there. Okay, so that is composition of soil. Okay, and see, other than this, here air and water also constituents of the soil. Okay, air and water also constituents of the soil, because you know that in the soil some empty spaces are there, right? So they are empty spaces between the soil particles. Okay, so they are called the pore spaces. Okay, these empty spaces are called the pore spaces. Now you can say, what is pore spaces? Pore spaces means the empty spaces in between the soil. Okay, these spaces are filled with air or water. Okay, these spaces are filled with air or water, so which is used by the soil organisms. Okay, these spaces are filled with air or water which is used by the soil organism. So the roots of the plants use this air from the soil to stay healthy. Okay, the roots of the plants use this air from the soil to stay healthy. So if the roots are short of air, the plants maybe die. Okay, so the amount of pores that a soil has is called the porosity. Now you can say, what is porosity? Porosity means what? The amount of pores that a soil has is called porosity. Okay, and the porosity depends on the size and number of pores in the soil. Understand, everyone? Porosity depends on the size and number of pores in the soil. When the size of the particle is big, the pore spaces increase. Okay, the size of the particle is big, the pore spaces increases. Okay, so now you studied the definition of what is porosity. What is porosity? What is pores? Pore spaces. The empty spaces between in the soil particle is called pore spaces. So the amount of pores that a soil has is called porosity. Okay, and also the porosity depends on the size and number of pores in the soil. Understand, everyone? Okay, there are many types of soil in the earth, right? So you must have observed them, right? So you know that black color soil, white color soil, gray soil, right? So these are all the colors of soil, you may see that. Okay, so now let's study about the types of soil. Okay, see now you are looking the first type of soil, that is sandy soil. What is that? Sandy soil. Listen, and see, depending on the amount of sand, silt, clay and humus, the top soil can be divided into 3 types. Understand, everyone? The top soil can be divided into 3 types. Okay, so the difference in particle size of the various soil constituents give rise to a property called texture. So what is texture? The difference in particle size of the various soil constituents gives rise to a property called texture. Okay, see, if you want to find the types of soil, it is very simple. Okay, see, for that, just you take some soil in your hand and make the soil should be wet and roll it between your fingers. Okay, so while you are rolling that, see if the soil is very gritty and pale brown, then it is sandy soil. Okay, now you are looking the sandy soil only. Understand? If the soil is very gritty and pale brown, then it is sandy soil. Okay, and if the soil makes a shiny, smooth coating on your finger and it is grayish brown in color, then the soil will be clayey soil. Okay, how the clay soil will be there? If the soil makes a shiny, smooth coating on your finger and it is grayish brown in color, then it is clayey soil. Do you want to see that? This is clayey soil. Okay, and if the soil is flaky and dark, then it is loamy soil. See, this is flaky and dark means then it is loamy soil. So now let's study about the sandy soil. Okay, see there, the sandy soil is soil has a large proportion of sand particles and a very small amount of smaller clay particles. Okay, what is the first character in that? The soil, sandy soil has a large proportion of sand particles and a very small amount of smaller clay particles. Repeat it, everyone. Sandy soil has a large proportion of sand particles and very small amount of smaller clay particles. Okay. And the second point, the sandy soil is coarse. Okay. Here the sand particles are big. So the sand grains form large spaces between the particles. Okay. So it is made up of large particles with large air spaces. Understand? And the third point, this makes the soil very porous, right? So and water moves rapidly it. Okay. So it dries up easily. Understand? So its porosity prevents retention of water. So it dries up very easily. That is the third character. Okay. And it is very light and easy to plow. Okay. It is light and easy to plow. Okay. But since it does not hold water, it has little plant nutrients and fewer soil organisms. Okay. So it's not suitable for growing crops. And unless organic matter is added to it. Okay. So it is well suited for fruit and vegetable cultivation. Okay. Here the xerophytic plants that are adapted to survive with less water grow in sandy soil. Okay. So it is well suited for fruit and vegetable cultivation. Understand? Here we studied 4 characters. Just a little I given that. Okay. First one is more than 2/3 of sandy soil is sand and about 1/10 is clay. Okay. And the second one is it is made up of large particles with large air spaces. And the third one is its porosity prevents retention water. So it dries up very easily. Okay. And it is well suited for fruit and vegetable cultivation. This is what we studied about the sandy soil. Okay. And the next one is clay soil. This is clay soil. Okay. See, the clay soil has greater proportion of very fine clay particles. Okay. So here the 2/3 of the clay soil is clay only. Understand? The 2/3 of the clay soil is clay. Here, since particles are of small size, they are tightly packed and have very little air spaces between them. Okay. Here, since the particles are of small size, they are tightly packed and have very little air spaces between them. And it has very good water retention capacity. Okay. So here more than 2/3 of the clay soil is a clay and it is made up of fine particles with smaller air spaces. Okay. So it retains moisture and becomes very sticky when wet. Okay, so it has very good water retention capacity. Since it is dense and less porous, it gets waterlogged very easily. So you must know that the soil that gets waterlogged has less air. Okay, so it can be easily kneaded to make a ball. That is why it is very suitable for the pottery. The potters used to prepare the pot in this soil only. Okay, so you can look that. Okay, here and there. So the peoples are potters are making varieties of pots with the help of the clay soil. Okay, and it is very difficult to plow and it clings to the feet in rainy season. Okay, if you keep the leg inside, what will happen? It goes down. Okay, so that is clay soil. Okay, so here also we studied 4 characters. The first one is more than 2/3 of clay soil is clay only, and it is made up of fine particles with small air spaces. And third one is it retains moisture and becomes very sticky when wet, but when it dry it becomes hard and forms deep cracks. Okay, to improve this oil, chalk can be added. Okay, and also it is good for making parts. Okay, that is about the clay soil. And the next type of soil is called loamy soil. The next type of soil is called loamy soil. The loamy soil contains sand, silt, clay, and humus. Okay, loamy soil contains sand, silt, uh, clay, and humus. Okay, in a well balanced proportion. So, silt in the soil is deposited by the rivers on the plains. Okay, when they flow down from hills. So, the size of silt particle is between sand and clay particles. Okay, so the size of the silt particle is between sand and clay particles. Yes, sorry, this is clay soil, this is only loamy soil. Okay, see when the it is mostly dark brown and appears slightly coarse. Okay, it is mostly dark brown and appears slightly coarse. Okay, so the loamy soil holds a good amount of air and water. Okay, so the loamy soil hold a good amount of air and water. Okay, so the loamy soil has a sand, silt in equal amount, about 2/5 each. Okay, 1/5 of loamy soil is clay. Understand? So, and also second point, the high content of organic matter or humus supports a rich variety of soil. Okay, which keep the soil fertile. Okay, the high content of organic matter or humus supports a rich variety of soil organisms which keep the soil fertile. Okay, so that means it has a high humus content. Understand? It has a high humus content. And some of these organisms can convert nitrogen from the air into plant nutrients. Okay, some of these organisms can convert nitrogen from the air into plant nutrients. So all these features make loamy soil ideal for growing crops. Okay, so it has the required porosity for plants to grow. Already you know that what is porosity. What is porosity? The amount of pores that has a soil is called porosity. So here it depends on the size and number of the pores in the soil. Okay, so you know that here the water can go inside, right? So it has the required porosity for plants to grow. Okay, and also it is easy to plow, and it warms up quickly in spring, and it rarely dries out in summer. Okay, so this soil is good for cultivation of crops and gardening. Understand that it is good for cultivation of crops or and gardening. Understand that. So here we studied three types of soil, that is sandy soil, clayey soil and loamy soil. Okay, so we can differentiate between the sandy, clayey and loamy. Okay, so when we say the sandy soil, more than 2/3 of sandy soil is sand and about 1/10 is clay. But the clayey soil, 2/3 of the clayey soil is clay only. But the loamy soil has sand, silt in equal amounts, about 2/5 each. Okay, so 1/5 of loamy soil is clay. Okay, then when we go to the second point, the sandy soil is made up of large particles with large air spaces. Okay, but clay soil is made up of fine particles with small air spaces. Okay, but the loamy soil has high humus content. Okay, so can you repeat the second point? Sandy soil is made up of large particles with large air spaces, but clay soil is made up of fine particles with small air spaces. But loamy soil has a high humus content. The third point we studied, the sandy soil porosity prevents retention of water. Okay, and also the sandy soil dries up very quickly. Okay, but the clayey soil, it retains moisture and becomes very sticky when wet. So when dry, it becomes hard and forms deep cracks. Okay, when it dry, when it is hard and forms deep cracks. So to improve the soil, chalk can be added. Okay, but the loamy soil has the record porosity for plants to grow. Okay, but in fourth point, the sandy soil well suited for fruit and vegetable cultivation, but in the clayey soil it is good in for making pots. It is not good for the plants. Okay, but loamy soil, it is good for cultivation and cultivation of crops and gardening. Okay, the loamy soil is good for cultivation of crops and gardening. This is the difference between sandy soil, clayey soil and loamy soil. Okay, so today we studied composition of soil and the types of soil. Understand everyone? So still we studied soil, weathering, then what we did is the factors affecting soil formation, soil profile, composition of soil and the types of soil. Understand everyone? So we started the lesson 8, page number 118 to 122. Everybody read the passage. Okay, students, once you read it and what are the questions we marked, that also you have to mark it. Here in these types of soil, you have to learn the question difference between sandy, clayey and loamy soil. Okay, so all the 4 points you have to study. Understand, students? So read all the pages and understand that. Okay, thank you, students.